Hey, there we are. Everybody's with us now. Hi guys. Welcome to this week's episode of The Blithe and the Blind. My name is Joy.
Did you forget?
And be a little shut up.
It says it down there.
It says it. If you forget my name, it's right there. It's more for you guys to practice than anything. So my name is Joy.
Hi, I'm Julie. I'm the blind one. Yep, thanks for coming. That was a good episode. We've done this twice now.
Don't make me feel bad about not knowing my name, okay?
It's okay. It happens. It happens. You know, it's been
that kind of day.
It's been a weird day. So for those of you joining fresh, hi randos. How you doing? Thanks for coming. We appreciate you.
I know I can pull it off. It's okay.
Yeah, and then we've got like loyal people. We've got loyal people from around the globe, by the way. Yeah.
Our friends of the show. Shout out to you guys.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us. We appreciate you. We see you.
Not just me. It's not just me.
No, it's I don't know what's in my drink, but you know. But no, we see you. No pun intended. But we appreciate you. Thanks for watching and listening and do the things and smashing things and liking and sharing and doing all that stuff. For the newbies out there, I'm getting a weird echo. For the newbies out there, I wanted to let you know that what we are and what we do. So we talk about our lived experience of being blind and having hidden disabilities, not just me.
Well, for the blind thing right now, it's just you.
It is just me. I mean, I am blind. It is not a hidden disability, but you don't know it unless you know it sometimes. But we are a crossroads of irreverence and ridiculousness, and where the sublime meets in the middle somewhere.
And
right? In a little package with a bow.
We like to recognize the months that are super important to us. Last month it was Pride Month.
Yes.
You know, I mean, we've had a few episodes on that one, so if you want to go check those out, please feel free. Please do. I think it's pretty fun, but I'm a little biased.
Right.
And then
they don't suck. So.
And then this month is actually also a very important month for our podcast. It is Disability Pride Month.
It is Disability Pride Month. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
So,
yeah. So for those
that I'm proud.
Yeah, well, and not everybody is, right?
I know.
It's a trajectory like everything else. Just like we have so many similarities with disability and LGBTQ plus, and if you don't know that, go back and listen. There are so many similarities.
Shout out to my weirdos.
Yeah, and there's so many similar journeys and stories and lived experiences, because there are those who are not proud to be out, and there are those that are not out, and there are those that don't fully disclose what their hidden disability is. There are times I do, and there are times I don't.
Most times I don't, but I talk about it a lot anyways.
It's true, man. It's so true. But she doesn't name it, but she talks a lot about it. Anyway.
My tum-tum troubles.
Yeah, her tum-tum. So, but there are times, if you're around me and you don't know that I am visually impaired and blind, then you wouldn't know. And I take on projects, and as I've stated before, I draw and I journal and I write when it
power tools.
I use power tools. Yeah, I do.
Unsafely, but that was before the vision loss too.
Sometimes it's unsafe, but that's just who I am. It's fun to be around me. I'm an adventure. I have been renovating our shed, and so I got a new reciprocal saw, so that's been fun to play with.
Great.
It's been fun. Did you die? No. We've only had one injury, and it was my finger.
With a hammer.
I did it my own self with a standard claw hammer, y'all.
Perception gets thrown off when you have a visual impairment.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry,
it wasn't the sledgehammer, so that's the win. And we have 2 sledgehammers for those keeping count. But yeah, so this week we're talking about misconceptions. I got stuck. Misconceptions and dumb things we hear people say.
Now, to be clear, this is different than last episode, because these misconceptions are, I feel we're going to be covering more of the ones that are like kind of broader, you know, the ones that you see more often or whatever, from outside sources coming in.
Yeah.
So I mean, a fine example is, like I said, Julie uses power tools. And a lot of people are like, a blind person with a power tool, that's just a recipe for disaster. But I stated again, dear viewer, it was a recipe for disaster before she was blind. So
and it's not.
It's not.
It's all in jest and love.
I'm just here to give her a bunch of flack.
Yeah.
And it is so entertaining to watch sometimes.
Yeah. So
it turns into, how's the best way to cut this? And the best way is never the best way to cut it.
No, because I'm also neurodivergent, y'all. So my way of doing it, this is the one time really, truly that my husband and I butt heads. He's like engineer mindset, black and white. There's one way to do it. He gets like, you can vouch for this. He gets like, this is the way it needs to happen.
Tunnel vision.
Yeah. And he gets this single focus. This is how we're going to do it. This is how it needs to be done. And I am the queen of, there are 5 different ways to get to 10, like I can, and my way is not ever going to be the way you add to 10. My way, if your way is 1 + 9, my way is never going to be 1 + 9. It's just not. I wish it was. It would make my life easier. But
it's one of those things too where, I mean, again, everybody's got their own way of doing things. Some of us don't like that. Everybody has their own way of doing things, but you have to get over it.
Yeah. That was directed to me, y'all. Anyway.
Only
a lot.
But it also turns into, it's one of those things where, in the end, it's, the shed is going to be more of your space. That's going to be your area to be in. So like, she's going to do it her way, and she's going to do it with the tools she wants, and she's only going to get her blood in there. I'm not going to lie. I definitely bled in the shed a little bit, but it's because of a mosquito bite.
Different. Anyway.
I'm so tough.
Anyway, she's so tough. Anyway. But no, and there are times though, as a crazy neurodivergent that tries not to be crazy, that like for cleaning, misconception for cleaning, I have a certain way I like to clean certain things, and I have I want to say within the last probably 7 to 10 years, somewhere around there, I've been like, I don't care, it's clean. I really don't care.
I'd give it more like the last, 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
All just because
probably since 2018,
12, it had to be done a certain way. Don't tell me it was 7 to 10 years.
Yeah, so probably
it had to be done a certain way.
It's true. So probably since 2018, I got very sick in 2018, and I really had 0 F's to give at some point. Like my cares were gone, and the field was dry. If you know what I'm saying.
To be fair, you were also kind of laid up on the couch for a while, so you didn't really get to tell us how to clean things. It's the first time I haven't had to get a check mark after I cleaned the bathroom in my entire life.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
When I was 18 years old. So.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I'm bragging on myself, so all my siblings can suck it. I was the only one who could clean it to her standard.
It's true. For a long time. Yeah, that was a long time. Now, Janice did pretty good, but she had kids.
Okay, fine. The boys can suck it.
Yeah, the boys can suck it. No, I mean, Janice had kids and stuff, so different. That's a big age difference. There's a large age difference between the two.
There's a heck of an age difference.
Yeah.
But it's also one of those where, one of the biggest things that people think is, with neurodivergence, it's like, oh, but, those are the kids that, like, and this is just a misconception I tend to see, and especially it's more like a kind of middle school, high school misconception, in my opinion. It's where I saw it the most. But, it's that idea of like, oh, but those are the kids who don't like to shower. Those are the kids who don't like to take care of themselves or keep their space clean. I'm also neurodivergent. I know everybody is shocked and confused by that one. But I apologize for my cough. I'm not contagious, and I won't give any of you computer virus, I swear. So, but
it's subliminal. It'll be fine. I like it's a control thing though, right? Don't you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I like to have control of situations. Those of you who know me know that very well. But it's one of those where if I can
gets it from her father.
Absolutely. But if I can, love you, Dad.
I know he's one of our loyal listeners and followers, and God bless him. Where's he gonna go? This
he gets
warranty's
the
up.
shout out. He
So
gets the
he's
shout out.
stuck.
That's it.
Yeah. Hi, honey.
Exposure, of course.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's, people, my entire life at least, I throw this out there knowing full well it won't mean anything to a lot of people, but I am obsessive compulsive. By that, I don't just mean, oh, I like things neat in a certain way. I'm very particular. No, I'm legitimately obsessive compulsive. Diagnosed. What up? So for me, when I can't control how things are in a situation, it's like an itch you can't scratch. It makes me wildly uncomfortable. And it turns into, for lack of a better term, a meltdown moment for me sometimes. Moving days are always really hard for me because something's gonna go wrong inevitably. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Murphy's Law always reminds me of that one.
But that's part of moving too, right? You have other
Yeah.
people handling your things.
Yeah.
And you either have to trust they're going to respect it, or you're not going to have those people move your things.
Right? I have 4, maybe 5-ish people that I really trust when I'm moving. 3 of them are family members. One honestly might as well be a family member. And the other one is Grace. Shout out. Now I'm just doing it on purpose.
Every episode now, Grace.
I'm doing it on purpose now.
Yeah.
You pointed it out to me once.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, honestly, I do trust you for moving days. So thank you for understanding my crazy.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where, okay, when people talk about obsessive compulsive disorder, obsessive compulsions, OCD at all, a lot of people like to go, well, it's just my OCD. It's not.
Yeah.
It's really not. It does not do anybody who is actually diagnosed with OCD any favors that you use it colloquially to mean you like things a certain way sometimes.
Yeah. That's like when people, it bothers me when people are like, oh, my dyslexia is showing. I'm like, right. I got a number backwards. That's not that's just, dude, stop. Just stop.
That's like your brain just decided to short circuit for like a second and was like, 2 is wrong.
But we have a dyslexic person, and stop. Yeah. That's not that one.
No, but that's one of the misconceptions I like to. Yeah. One of the biggest misconceptions I like to throw out is, it's not even, I guess, necessarily a misconception, but it is harmful to a community of not necessarily disabled, but just neurodivergent individuals using terms, psychological terms that describe problems people actually have.
Right.
Does not help that situation. It doesn't make it more known. It doesn't make it a well-known thing.
No,
you don't.
It makes you an ableist. Yeah, like it's like your ableism showing. Stop. Yeah.
Right, and that's people. Say to me all the time when if I do disclose my neurodivergence, with specifically, of course, the name. People are like, oh, your room must be immaculate. First of all, no, it's freaking not. Because part of obsessive compulsive disorder, it's an anxiety-based disorder.
Right.
So honest to God, 9 times out of 10, my room's a mess. You cannot see the piles of blankets I have on my bed right now.
Right.
But there are certain aspects that I do keep arranged, that I do keep a specific way.
Yeah.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
Her books. What I was going to say was, and part of neurodivergence and the kind of neurodivergence that I have and you have is masking, right? Mm-hmm. So I saw something the other day. I think I sent it to you. I don't remember. I may have sent it to your father. I don't remember.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, it's a part of masking for me, and I can't speak for you, but for me specifically, and it's why I sent it to your dad. Hi, honey. Is the masking of, and you grew up in this house, keeping things a certain way means I can find it. But when you get to my personal space, like I have laundry on the floor, I have piles of things. They're not quite doom piles, but my desk has doom piles. If you could see kind of around me. And even my doom piles are kind of organized.
The number of times it's been like, it's on my desk, so look to the left, and under the pile of sticky notes with all the Sharpies, there's a single pencil. I'm like, okay, got it. That makes sense to me.
Like, I know where things are, but don't touch my stuff, right?
Unless
but
I
can, like, I have, we have friends, family friends, whatever, people who've been over throughout the years, and y'all out there who've been out there and been over, you can tell me. I have people who are like, I bet your house is never dirty. Like, I've never been to your house where there are things out of place or things are dirty or whatever. If you saw my house right now, like, I have construction stuff all in my sunroom and all on my kitchen table.
Or somewhat of a cluster.
Yeah. And it makes me itch, right? It drives me crazy that things aren't put away. But
those of you out there who don't know the itch, by the way, likely not neurodivergent in a way similar to what we are.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least, or you may even just be neurotypical, which is, I mean, obviously totally fine.
Yeah, I mean,
but if you don't get it,
yeah, and that itch for me is like when you have a sunburn and you feel it starting to peel. That's what that is like. Yeah, but it's that kind of a thing all the time. But it's like in my head and all over. So, but if I put all my construction stuff away every day, my brain would be like, there's so much energy to have to go get it all, to get it back out, to do the thing, to come back, to do the thing, to put it away, to do. It's not happening. So I have 3 piles right now. And for my lived experience, I know there's certain type in the kitchen, there's a certain type in the sunroom, and there's a certain type in my work area.
If you live in the Midwest, you absolutely have a tool drawer in your kitchen. Don't lie to me.
We have a tool drawer in our kitchen, and I used to get blown crap for the tool drawer in the kitchen, but it has a hammer, it's got screwdrivers, it's got all the random screws, it's got the IKEA wrenches in there.
Gorilla Glue.
Has the Gorilla Glue.
Let's know where it is.
It's got a box knife in it.
It's in the kitchen. Yeah. Why is it in the kitchen? Because that way I remember where it is. It's a weird
spot. I remodeled my kitchen, I actually measured a space for a cabinet that was big enough for a tool drawer.
It is like the smallest drawer in our kitchen, but if you open it up, there's like 3 pairs of scissors. There's an
18-inch. Yeah.
Probably a pair of robo grips in there.
It does. But it has all the little shards of things that you're like, well, I can't get rid of that. I might need that screw someday. Yeah.
I might use that little piece to patch up a hole in a year.
That little zippy strip that goes to nothing, but you might need it. Yeah.
But that's
part of that stuff, right? So to go back to the dumb things I hear things like, oh, I bet your room is immaculate. Your house is always so nice. What are you talking about? And there's people that come over and I'm like, I'm sorry, my house is trashed. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm like, I haven't had a chance to dust, or I haven't had a chance to vacuum or fluff the pillows or whatever. And I like the pillows on the couch a certain way.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I like
the rest of us don't care.
I like the carpet a certain way. I like certain things certain ways just because I want to come out in the morning and I want it
My dog does not help that cause.
No. But when I hear things like, but your house is always clean, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, it's not.
That's the other thing, because you said your itch feels to you like a sunburn.
Well, I was trying to describe it for people. Yeah, you want to scratch it, and
for me,
you want to scratch it until you're raw. Yeah.
For me, it's not.
And I say that because I have literally been scratching myself to death. You can't see it, but I have this thing on my arm because I wake up at night because I have crap everywhere, and I'm literally scratching myself to death. I woke up last night scratching.
So for me, the itch, and it's hard to even explain this to other like neurodivergent people, because it's like we said before, not everybody experiences the same thing. But mine starts like right at the base of my skull, top of my spinal cord, and it just goes down my. Did I just go down? What just happened?
Nope, you're still there. You're here.
Okay, sorry, my computer's acting up on me. It's very strange. Okay. So, No, my computer
it's having a moment.
My computer just reverse carded me, so my my view of us is on this screen and it won't go back.
Okay. So, but you're fine.
Sure, fine's a word I would use.
Speaking of that itch is trying to show itself right now.
Oh, so bad.
Yeah.
People who know me, sometimes I'll just be doing something and I'll be focused really hard, really intensely, and then I just shiver. My whole body just, even talking about it, I just got one. It's a weird little like just shiver down my person, and it's because it's this tenseness, this I don't know how to describe it. It's really just it feels like a shock wave just going down my entire spine.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't go away. The tension is still there. It turns into I can't figure out how to make it go away. And sometimes the best way for me to make it go away is walk away from the project and wait until I can come back to it without that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I am an avid reader. I freaking love to read. I love my books so much. And the issue is I get 3/4 of the way through them, I get that feeling, and I put them down. Every time I come back to it, I get that feeling for a while, and I can't go back to it. I can't read it if I get that feeling. So, I do the same thing with TV shows, and it pisses off so many of my friends because they're like, oh, have you finished this? No, I'm 2 episodes away from it being done. Why haven't you just watched it? I cannot do that right now.
Yeah.
It's as much as I can always say. And it's one of those things where it's, if you aren't neurodivergent, or if you are and you don't get it, then you just don't get it. It's not going to be something you understand.
Yeah.
And it gets hard when you're friends with a bunch of neurotypical people who start to get frustrated with those behaviors because they don't understand them. But the people who do make the effort, I mean, I always personally appreciate them, because it's like, okay, even if you're only thinking, well, Joy's just weird. That's just Joy. They're weird. They're a weird person.
True story, but for different reasons. Yeah.
But it's one of those where it's like, if that's your only understanding of it and you're just like, yeah, they're still cool, I want to hang out with them. Okay, cool. Like, let's be friends now, That's how all my friends got stuck with me.
Yeah.
But
on the other side of that, though, the people who don't understand it but want to try to bond, for lack of a better way to put it. Oh, I know somebody who has that, or I have an uncle, brother, sister friend who had something similar to that, or they did this and this, right? It's like, no, stop, don't I don't care about your distant relative, friend, person that you may or may not have talked to 25 years ago who tried something, or 7 years ago, or 5 years ago, or what. They're not me. And you've only heard a portion. I always call it the nugget, right? Like, I've used that a lot. Like, there's a nugget of information you have about a whole stream of my life, and you want to help fix something because you heard a nugget of information. Cut it out. Like, if I did that to you, you would be so pissed off because you're getting a kernel of info from somebody.
And this kind of goes back to the masking conversation that we're having, like, just a little earlier.
Yeah.
People will sometimes even be like, it turns into like, well, I've never seen that from you. My favorite thing
masking.
My favorite thing in the world is when I disclose to people, and I'm disclosing to you, lovely internet. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I have anger issues. I really do. It's taken a really long time for me to get them, for lack of a better term, under control, more often than not. I personally feel like I've made a lot of really great strides with that. I really don't
work really hard on it.
And I don't get as angry as I used to about some things.
Right.
Other things I absolutely do, but I don't show it.
Yeah.
or I remove myself from the situation if it's bad enough. But I also have some really bad coping mechanisms when I get mad. You can attest to this one. Sometimes if I'm really getting mad about something and it's one of those where I'm like, nobody is listening to this, nobody's actually paying attention to what's going on. Okay, well, you're not going to listen to me anyways. I'm done. I'm out. You will watch my face glaze over. Whatever you are saying, I don't hear it. I don't care. It's not even going in one ear out the other. It is stopping.
She checks out. Yeah.
We have the right to refuse service to anyone. So it's one of those where you can watch me zone out. If you know me, at least. If you don't know me, I look like I'm paying attention and I'm nodding and I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, sure, let's do that. Oh, yeah, okay, that's sure. I'm probably not paying attention if you're getting those responses from me. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, well, I just like to ignore people. I get so frustrated that if I keep trying to respond to what you're saying, it will get one or both of us in trouble.
Yeah, which is better than it is a step forward from how it used to be handled.
Yes, so it is. It really
there's progress.
And it's one of those things, again, I'm aware of, but that's one of those things that when I'm out in public, when I'm at jobs, when I am even just socializing with friends, I've got to keep that in check 24/7 if I'm around other people. And it is damn difficult to do.
Especially when you're masking.
And that's
on top of all that. I'm in public and I'm masking anyway. And then so I get frustrated and now I gotta mask on top of masking. It's exhausting.
And it's the other thing that, and I get it from people my own age more than anything. I fully understand why. But I've talked about it before, obviously. I don't disclose my diagnosis itself, but I am chronically ill in more ways than one. One, I do diagnose, I am asthmatic. The only reason I diagnose it or I disclose it is because you're going to see me with my inhaler at some point. Point blank, I cannot breathe like half the time. Let me rephrase that. I can't breathe like a normal person half the time. Part of my cough that's going on, there's been a mess in the air recently and 4th of July and the weather's changing because we live in Indiana. I've been having a rough health time for the past 2 weeks probably. It's not been cute. And
before you try to help her, don't.
Please don't. Please don't. That's what my doctor is for.
Yeah.
They got me covered.
We pay professionals for that. But it's cool.
When I tell people my age, I'm chronically ill, I got to take meds, my favorite thing in the world to hear, oh, you can't take that many meds.
Oh, really?
There's no way you can take that many meds. You're still young and healthy. You still look young and healthy. You're right. I look the part. I play the part.
Well, she looks young. Yeah. I mean,
I was feeling a little. Anyways, getting worn down.
Tell me about it.
Ingest again, dear audience. Do not start on me in the comments.
It's all good.
But, because of this weather, I'm on a secondary inhaler right now. I say secondary, but it's really kind of it's my everyday inhaler right now.
Right.
They put me on another antibiotic, on another steroid.
Right.
I already take a steroid 4 times a day and a different med twice a day and another med once a day. And it's for somebody who's my age, I shouldn't be on that many medications.
Right.
I just shouldn't. And my doctors tell me that.
Yeah.
But the other thing I personally hear at the doctor a lot, specifically when I have a cough or bronchitis or anything to do with my asthma, is I get the doctors looking me in the face and going, how are you sitting up right now?
Right.
Because my oxygen levels drop below what anybody's should be a lot. And I don't use my inhaler very often. That's a personal mistake. But to me, it's because, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, this is just how we're breathing today. Okay, let's adjust and do. But my rescue inhaler only works, for so long at a time. And you got to re-up on it several times a day. And if I'm having a busy day, I don't always think about it. So it turns into, when people are like, well, there's no way you can really be that sick and not think about it. There's no way you can be on that many meds.
But that's part of
masking even.
It is part of masking and having disabilities, hidden or not. Like the masking, it is exhausting, and that's a big known and well versed um, you know song that those of us in this community hear a lot is how can you be whatever when you're a high functioning person? Well, I've been a high functioning neurodivergent person my whole life. I was also a high functioning alcoholic for decades.
And she does mean high functioning. Like,
I mean high functioning, and
impressive.
I was a binge drinker. Like from Friday to Sunday I was drinking, and I was every day, all day, party on. And most people had no clue. But saying, how could you whatever because you look like one of us, normal, whatever, you're able to do XYZ. Right. That is such an ableist comment. I travel. You're going to hear that over and over again. I travel solo.
You travel?
I know. I travel solo a lot. Having said all of that, I get all the time, but you can function on your own. So why are you asking for help? Well, because I need help. If I need help, I'm going to ask for it. If I'm lost, I'm going to ask for help. If I can't understand something or get from point A to point B, I'm going to ask for help. I am visually impaired, y'all. I know it doesn't look like it.
Turns out saying there's a thingy isn't helpful, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Tell that story. Speaking of which.
Oh, you want me to tell a story right now?
So here's the deal. So
sorry,
that's okay. So it's one of those where how can this happen when X, right? Well, it happens. So yes, I'm visually impaired. So I had we were out doing things, and we were driving hither and yon, and I really mean hither and yon. It's like we drove however many millions
like 3
of miles.
hours south and 3 hours back or something.
Well, it's like 2 hours. So we were like 4 hours. There was a couple days we were really traveling the state of Indiana.
And we were hanging out like outside during the haze for a couple hours in between these drives, so it wasn't getting better.
So just for the people who watch this in the future, there was a while where the Canada was on fire, pretty much.
I think they're still on fire. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, but this is for future people, data. It's nothing. So way in the future, y'all, future us, Canada was on fire. And so we had a haze from the Canadian fires that literally hovered over us for days,
4 days,
weeks. Yeah. And so we were driving back.
Quality.
Yeah, we were driving back and forth because of, I'll be real honest, baseball. We were driving back and forth because of baseball games.
Amongst other things.
Yeah, amongst other things. And it became humorous. Anyway, so we were driving along.
We were coming home from this baseball game.
And I was trying to help her with directions.
So here's the deal. I've lived in Indiana for most of my life. But you know, I mean, much like other people, I tend to know I have a pretty decent radius on where I know where things are, where I don't know. Mm-hmm. I know some alternate routes. This mother has
that would be me. I'm the mother. I'm the mother.
Has lived here for significantly longer than I.
Yeah, I know the way pretty well.
You know, back roads, different ways, alternate routes, down like the back of her hand. So I'm driving because it was not a great visual day for Mom, and so I was like, yeah, I can drive, whatever. Yeah. And we're taking a different way because traffic was abhorrent.
So we took the back roads, y'all. Yeah. And
traffic was poopy doops.
Yeah, so we took way back way.
She was going, and she has a system in the car. She points if she needs you to turn a certain way, and if you keep going, it's this. Like straight forward this, and it's like something like that. It's a very direct forward movement.
Yeah.
So we're at this place where I could go in the right lane or the left lane, and they take you 2 different ways.
Totally. And I was looking at my phone.
she's looking at her phone, and I was like, hey, we're coming up on the split. Do you want me to take what, like 56th or Shadeland or whatever? And she just goes, like flippantly, not forward, not to the side.
It was like, now I've been blowing her step for this. Like I really did something. I literally went. There was no direction to it. It was just
no direction. I said, your hand movements are vague. Do you recall what you said to me?
I said, so are my words.
They won't help you either. And we'd been talking to my niece, her granddaughter, who communicates primarily through sign language, and I was like, "That's not sign language either.
Not even a sign.
It wasn't even a sign. It was
doing.
It was a flippant wave.
It was one of these.
So I
she was
pick
like,
one and went with it.
Go there.
And it's like last minute, like I almost became one of those booty holes that was crossing the double white at the thing. Because all of a sudden she goes, "No, you need to get off here."
It was so great.
I'm in a marked car. I'm in a company car.
Yeah, my car has our logo on it. Yeah, she's like, I'm in the company car.
Like, we are literally in the car for your travel agency.
I said, that's okay. If they call the number, it comes to my phone. I'll just tell them the blind girl's driving. It's fine.
I was just like, so we were like, last second, you just see me like,
go,
panicking to get over.
It was so great.
We get home, I'm telling this story, and she goes, "No, I went like this, go forward." No, I pointed to the right. You needed to go.
I've been trying to gaslight her for weeks.
I don't buy it. I do not buy it. I do not.
It was so great. And then it turned into, but did you die though? You did not die.
Because the other thing I don't tell people often is I have a stupid good memory. She knows this.
I know.
She knows this. I'm that person that would always be like, "You remember on March 4th when you said this?
Yeah.
It's the time." And she's like, "I need to stop telling you dates."
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, for weeks now, it has been her.
Yeah.
Like, no, I said to go right.
Yeah.
No, I said to keep going.
Joy,
you just weren't paying attention.
Joy had an eidetic memory, and I say had for a reason. Joy had an eidetic memory. It's pretty close now, but she had eidetic memory until there was an incident. She got a concussion. It was a pretty severe concussion. So many years ago at this point, like 5 years.
Summer going into my senior year of high school.
Yeah. So it was
5 years ago.
Yeah. So that concussion left an irrevocable mark in many different ways, but it left a memory issue for a long time. It gave a stutter.
I do not remember July of 2017. Don't ask me questions.
Yeah, the stutter comes up when stress is high, or anxiety is high.
Which sucks when you have an anxiety disorder.
Yeah, and there are several repercussions from that. No pun intended. But there are several things. I know that was bad. I said it, and then I was like, nope. There are several things that have left their indelible mark, and part of that is relearning some coping mechanisms that were worked on.
When I tell you I've been struggling with anger issues my whole life, it took her 17 years to get me to a point of like, okay, cool, I got something. And that concussion set me back a few years because it in some way affected a part of my anger regulation.
You know where she talks about the back of her head where her spine goes back, and that was exactly where.
Well, to be fair, it's felt like that my whole life.
Yeah, but I think that's your radar. I think that was your ding. That's your bell.
But that's what I'm saying. I've had that itch my whole life. Every time I felt like that, that's where it is. But it's my head for the concussion. My head snapped back, and so the back end of my brain, mostly my cerebellum and then my language processing centers, got the worst of it.
Yeah.
But it took a lot to relearn some of the anger coping mechanisms.
And can I just say and share of all the things that she said and spoke clearly when she had a stuttering vocal issue, swear words, clears the bell. Clear as a freaking bell.
If mom ever wanted to hear me speak clearly, she'd piss me off.
I'd make her mad. So like our day one, she did a speech therapy thing, and shout out to those people. They were freaking angels and
so
loved
cool.
every one of them. But speech therapy, it was a struggle that first day. And I said, but watch. And I made her mad and she dropped the F-bomb.
I
And
knew she was trying to make me mad too, and it made me more mad that it was working.
And I went, see? And I said, and I did something else and the B word came out and there was a couple others. I was like, clear as bell, man. And the guy was like, I can work with this.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I also irritate. So you don't necessarily have anger issues. I wouldn't say you have anger issues, but I've always found ways to push your buttons.
Oh, yeah, I had anger issues. Yeah.
I mean, but what I'm saying is like yours.
You and I are very much alike.
The two people who are best at pissing each other off are us. We're very good at finding each other's buttons and just going.
It's because we're very similar. Well, we're similar and we know what to do to make each other mad.
To be fair, it turned into who can swear the more because the most during these lessons, because when you go through speech therapy for a stutter, if you've never had one before, if you've had, like, if you were born with it, whatever, they give you homework. So for those of you who don't know, I was going into senior year of high school. I just finished summer classes that year, and I was sick of homework. I was done with it. I didn't want to do anything with it. I couldn't remember things as well. It was pissing me off.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah.
But then I'd come home from speech therapy and I'd have speech therapy homework. And so she would try and make me do it.
Yeah.
And it was stuff like, okay, fine, we're getting there, but S's are hard to move off of. Don't know why, they just were. So she would get out. It's this game called Spot It. And it's round cards. And they have
a game. It's fun. Yeah, it's a fun game.
It's a fun game. It's a really cool game. So she would get out these cards and she'd point to all the ones that were S's. Sun, sunglasses, scissors, spider.
So when I pointed to sunglasses, what did you say?
Ray-Bans.
Yeah.
I couldn't say S's.
When I pointed to a spider, what did you say?
I would try. I'd be like, and it wouldn't come out. So I go, Ray-Bans.
What did you say was spider?
Arachnid.
Arachnid. That one came out fast, and she goes, arachnid. I was like, this is how we're going to play this game. So I point to the sun, and I'm like,
every time.
Yeah. So I point to the sun, and I'm like, what's that? And she was like,
ball of gas and light.
I'm like, oh, but what's its name? I don't know. Really? I'm pretty sure you know. No, I forget. Concussion. I'm like, oh. Now, I will say one of the best things, the funniest thing, we learned to laugh. Like, if you don't know us by now, it's episode 10. Hi, episode 10. We deal with the stress through humor, right? Because that's who we are and it's how we do. Once again, irreverence and ridiculous. So we had game night. We had friends over for game night. And part of what I would try to do is make her read all the time. And when you talk at a certain pace, at a certain at a certain tempo, and her standard speaking voice before the concussion was 180 beats a minute. Like, she's a fast talker. Like that.
Borderline disclaimer guy at the end of ads.
Yeah, so she's like 180 to maybe 200 beats a minute. Super fast, typically.
Keeps up with my brain.
Post-concussion, she has learned to slow down a little bit because we had to slow her down. I slowed her down to 60 beats a minute. That's like, she thought she was dying.
I was like, this is the worst experience of my life.
And it would have been like, this is so awful. Because you have to slow your brain down. Yeah.
And all the words had to connect.
Yeah. So, I mean, it helps. It helps.
It helped. Oh, yeah. I'm still mad about it.
So we have this game. It's a story game. So you have to read it, and then you have to read it, and you have to read it. Kind of like
beginning every time.
Every time you start at the beginning, you read the new. You start at the beginning, read it new. So we were having her read it every time for all of us.
And everybody else reading at a normal pace, by the way. I'm the only one who had to go slow.
So we get to this one point in the story, and we're pretty close to the end, but not quite there. And one of our friends is like, if you're listening, John, hi. So one of our friends, it's John, and so he's bouncing and bouncing and bouncing.
And I am telling the story.
And he's like this. And he couldn't go to the bathroom until she was done because he's like, it's my turn. I gotta finish my turn. So he's going.
I am telling the story, and
so he finally goes, Joy, can you hurry this up? I gotta pee. And the whole thing was, no, she's got to go slow.
And it's like he threw away the line.
He was like, hey, can you hurry this up? I gotta pee. And we all start dying laughing.
Laughing.
Because we're like, oh, that's funny. That's so funny. Just hurry this up, man. I gotta pee.
And we were like, just go to the back, because now I gotta start over.
Yeah. Because we couldn't finish it. She was like, now I'm pissed. I gotta start over. And he gets up and goes to the bathroom. He's like, serves you right.
And he's laughing too, trying not to pee himself at this point, because
it's like, gotta go. Terrible. Yeah.
It was so funny.
Thanks for taking forever,
And and
Code Brown. No.
It's things like that, where it turns into, okay, it's, I mean, in that situation, I was disabled in a way that I hadn't been before. I did not care for it.
No.
But, working through it, I think the biggest thing is like, was that dumb to say? Yes. But was it dumb in a funny way? Also, yes. That was
in that whole context, he wasn't. It was freaking hilarious.
Yeah. And to be fair, also, sorry, John, but when I first got concussed, we hadn't quite told him about the stutter yet, and he's a family friend, so it's not like I was going around advertising it. But Mom and I.
No, but you had gotten a concussion, but the stutter didn't show up until a week later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because of the bruising and everything.
But who knew I had the stutter? It was like a hit and miss thing. Like most of my friends didn't even know.
Yeah, it was relatively new. It was really because we were coming back from speech therapy when.
But this happens. We're driving. We're running some errands. Come back from speech therapy, and Mom gets like a flat tire or something. And so we pull into a Discount Tire because it's like right up the street, and she's talking to the guys and like behind the counter talking what's going on. And so she goes, "Hey, do me a favor, call John."
And
let him know what's up. See if he can give us a ride.
Yeah.
So new stutter at the time. I call him, and I had the worst stutter.
It was.
I couldn't get any words out,
especially in an emergent situation.
I couldn't get any words out. It was. Hi, there it is. It turned into one of those where I got so frustrated trying to speak, it made it worse. Because I'm used to speaking so fast, my face would wrench up and nothing would come out.
Yeah, it looked
painful. So frustrating and honestly a little embarrassing for me, for somebody who's usually seen as like intelligent and fast talking and quick witted. I felt dumb, and that's a misconception I had. That's I guess is people see people with the stutter as like dumb. That's a misconception. They don't. That's just how you feel sometimes when somebody's waiting for you to say it. So anyway, John didn't know about the stutter. And Mom goes, call John, see if he can give us a ride. He's like right up the street. I was like, okay.
Right. Because they need to hold on to the car and blah, blah,
and she's like, call him from my phone because that way he'll answer while I'm talking to him. I was like, okay. And I call and, hey, Julie, how's it going? And I was like, John, it's Joy. Like, that's how it was, like, bad, man. It was bad.
Immediately, he told me immediately he went into panic mode. Yeah, panic mode.
He starts rapid firing questions at me.
Yeah.
That I can't say the answers to.
He thought we were in a car accident. Yeah, he thought we were in a car accident, and she was in shock.
Well, like 8 times, he's like, "Where's Mom? Where's your mom? Where's Julie? Where's Mom? Where's your mom? What's going on?" I'm trying, and I start laughing because I can't answer the question. So I walk up to her, cracking up, and I just pat her on the arm, and she's like, "What?" And I just hand the phone over, and she's like, "John," and he like sigh of relief for a moment. He's like,
he was like, what's going on? Is everything okay?
What happened to Joy? Are you guys okay? Is everybody like?
I'm like, we have a flat tire. We're fine. He was like, what is wrong with her?
I couldn't get it out though.
I'm like, that's my fault. Just the stutter from the concussion. She was trying to tell you we just need a ride, and
we gave this.
Thank God!
Heart attack. Yeah. In retrospect, we could have texted him.
Right. I just thought how you just think a call's gonna be faster.
Except
it would have been in
there were some factors that were not taken into account.
No.
So but it's stuff like that. It's again,
And
for
we
me,
still laugh about that because he's
yeah.
still like, if she calls me with a stutter now, I don't know what to believe.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
You could be
one of those,
dead and I would never believe her.
and
Yeah.
like I said, it's one of those misconceptions where and I'm not saying everybody thinks this. I'm not saying I necessarily
Right.
think it, but it's, you see the character on TV who's got a stutter, and usually they're not the brightest,
Right.
So, I
Or
mean,
they don't
they're
get treated that way. Yeah.
right, and there's that stereotype that they don't know what they're trying to say, and they're just
Yeah.
dumb, and they don't understand. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Some
You
people
hear
are just
the,
born with a stutter. Some
right.
people develop one. There's
Well,
so
and
many things.
you hear the things like I grew up with a neighbor kid, Rusty. I swear that was his name.
From
Rusty
the
had a
South, y'all.
stutter.
From the South.
Rusty had a stutter and it was bad. And his dad, I don't know where he is now, and don't come at me in the comments.
Hope you're
His
doing
dad
okay,
would
Rusty.
smack him upside the back of the head because he would talk and get stuck, and
he'd try and shock him out of it.
I guess, I don't know. Things were different in the 70s, y'all. It was wrong.
Yeah.
But and we all made fun of him. It was wrong. We were terrible people. But you have a concept of who you think these people are. I'm hoping Rusty's somewhere doing something great because he was really funny.
Thriving, Rusty. We really do.
Yeah, we hope you are. But it is that misconception, and it's the misconception of feeling dumb when you're not, right? Like last episode, go and watch it. It's like when you were little and frustrated, and the jam, right, in the funnel that I talked about, that the words would get stuck. So you would get so frustrated, you would just go, ah!
Turns out when you're an adult, that's not as socially acceptable.
Yeah. So, and I giggle about it because you could almost watch it happen. like if you've ever been an adult that's so frustrated, and I've raised 4 children, I've been that adult where you get so frustrated, you just literally go, ah! Right. And it's only because if I line the words up, I'm going to say something inappropriate to this small child who's driving me absolutely freaking bonkers.
And you hope they don't parrot it.
Right. So
all of us do that.
Yeah. So it really turns into, how do we handle this misconception with this other person who's not dumb, but there's a jam somewhere, right? So for you, we were able to slow you down. So then
that you pour sugar slower, the lumps don't get stuck as easy.
So that misfiring could actually have the time to connect, right? And that helped. Sometimes it helps for other things. Sometimes it doesn't. Going back to how you and I connect, we either totally connect or we totally repel.
And magnets, man.
Even in the repelling part, it's taken 22 years for us to be able to, we no longer totally repel. We go ping.
You get like it's not a complete repellent, but it's like you can feel the chain break.
You actually you can hear the ting. And then
passing the kidney stone, man.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, okay, let's regroup. And there are times we go, oops, and we blip over it. And there are times we skim past it. And there are times we address things. But we have learned that the loud repellent doesn't work for us, right? And that's been our misconception of each other. Most of our misconceptions,
both so loud.
But our biggest misconceptions of each other is that we're trying to say different things, when typically it goes back to like circling all the way back. We're both getting to 10. We're just doing it differently. Right. And sometimes it's just because there are times you think like your dad. Hi, honey.
Shout out, homie. I stand by it. I know I can't pull it off. I'll keep doing it anyways.
I don't always understand that. So.
But I tend to have those kinds of situations with more people than most, where, I'm trying to say something, they don't understand it, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And that's typically where, in my experience, it tends to be somebody said something stupid or dumb. And when I say stupid or dumb, I mean like those inane comments like we were talking about, the ones that I'm like, why would you say that? Like, who told you that was a good thing to say?
Yeah.
That's what I mean when I say that, like the ones where you're like, who did you think that through?
Unsolicited advice.
There's also dumb things people say, like we've talked about, that are good and funny. And I want to leave us one last fun story from Confessed Joy era of life. One of the first times
I miss her some days.
Me too. She was very chill. But it's one of those stories from when we first met my first neurologist, because he has since moved on to a different practice and I have a new one now.
God, I miss him. Yeah, he was
so cool. Man was awesome.
He was good.
So we show up at his office after getting referred out by my doctor, to try and figure out, what is happening with my brain.
Right.
And with somebody who's very used to understanding the brain and how it functions, it was so irritating to not know what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't really remember the month of July. Most that I do, it's from stories.
Yeah.
But I do remember the feelings, and I sure as hell remember the stutter. So we go in and we're talking to this doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have a whole appointment. He kind of gets us. We got a little jokes kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
And before we leave, then he goes, all right. And if nothing else, if by, we'll check in again throughout the month, of course. But if you don't start kind of getting your memory back within the next month or so, we'll see what we can do. Or mom, hit her over the head with a stop sign. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Please don't do that.
Please don't hit her. Yeah.
I'll start laughing, and then he goes, it's just a joke.
It's a joke. Please don't hit her.
And that's what we totally decided. We're like, man, I love this guy.
He's like, I don't get to do that with everybody. I'm like, apparently not. But thank you for feeling that one for us.
It was the dumbest thing he could have said. Yeah. None of us expected it. It was definitely a shock factor joke. Mm-hmm. But that's like a good dumb comment to make, Yeah. That's one of those where we're like, we all understand the gravity of the situation. We know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just say something out of left field to make everybody feel good before we
sound ridiculous now. Yeah. And as we were walking out the door, so it was like other people could hear him, right?
And
so it was so great. It was so great.
He clarified it was a joke.
Yeah.
Because we all got it. But it's one of those where he understood the gravity of the situation, and he was one of the first people to really actively acknowledge, my doctor did, but he's pretty cool anyways. But he was one of the first people to actively acknowledge, your life is going to be different now. Mm-hmm. This is going to change how you
first time
as a person.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually heard the phrase, this will be the new normal.
And I hate that phrase with a passion. But when he said it, it was one of those things where you're like, I understand what you're trying to say to me, and you can't find new words to say it. It's the best way you can put it. Yeah. So my biggest thing is, if you're going to say something dumb to somebody, make it a good dumb.
Totally ridiculous.
You can. If you don't, if you don't get the concept, if you're not understanding how somebody is reacting towards news, the day that, mom really kind of got the news, you're gonna be blind, totally blind within this time period. It was not the day to make jokes. Mm-mm. The day after,
9 minutes. No.
It was too soon by 8 seconds.
By 8 seconds.
But the day after, the week after, the month after, you can, we're starting to understand what things are going to look like now.
Right.
So, if you keep asking me for help, but you keep pissing me off, I'm going to walk you into a hole and I'm going to walk away. You won't even see it coming.
Yeah, don't make me walk you into a tree. I hear that a lot.
But you don't do that the day of or anything.
No. And you don't do it in anger. You do it when it's funny. If you've never seen the movie Roger Rabbit, go watch it, because there's a scene in there where he does something and it's funny, but they're like, you couldn't have done this before. He's like, no, I only can do it when it's funny.
Exactly.
Read the room, man. Now, going back to every time we have an episode, this 10.
This many.
You can ask questions.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we're not going to say, well, that's a dumb question. And yes, there are dumb questions.
We are living
Absolutely.
proof of that.
I am so good at asking dumb questions. Typically, I start with, this is going to be a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it.
I always just go, so this is going to sound stupid, but I don't care. And
yeah. And most people are like, oh, there's no dumb questions. There are no stupid questions.
There's
I'm like,
stupid
yeah,
questions.
there are.
There's straight up
100%.
stupid questions.
100% there
We'll
are.
get
I
to
get
that
asked them
another
all the
time.
time. Like,
we'll talk about that again later.
yeah.
That's a story for another time.
But anyway, ask questions, ask questions, ask questions, ask clarifying questions. If we're not comfortable answering them, we won't.
And try and recognize when your questions are well received or not. And if they're not, maybe even ask the follow-up, please, could you please tell me why that question may like struck a nerve, or can you tell me what about that question came across as, you know, X, Y, or Z adjective.
I didn't realize that was an offensive question. My fault.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry are the two words that you should learn to say sincerely. Only because you're going to need them more than most other words that you know.
Life lessons. Boom. Mic drop. Boom. But ask questions. Always ask questions. You can ask us questions. You can ask us questions, underneath this video. You can ask us questions on our Facebook page. You can ask us questions. You can ask me here. You can ask me there. You can ask me on a train.
Thanks, Dr. Seuss.
You're welcome. But having said that, what?
Can I ask you with a fox?
You can, but I'm not holding it because those things are scary.
All right, next time we're going to talk about why Julie sucks for not liking foxes.
I like foxes, but they're scary.
They're cute.
Anyway, they make really loud sounds outside, the fox do, and the wolves and the things. Anyway, where we live is a little wildlife thing.
Coyotes, man.
Yeah,
Coyotes.
It's crazy. Anyway, do you have anything else you want to add for right now? We're going to wait and do it later. That was quite the bend.
My foot itched.
All of a sudden, it was like eyeball.
It's the mosquito bites, y'all. I swear.
Anyway.
No, I mean, all I can think of right now is, again, it's if you don't know if a question is going to be offensive or not.
Maybe don't ask it.
I mean, my advice is always either don't ask it or go to a friend who might be able to help you answer it.
Yeah.
And
Google.
Ask there. Google incognito browser if you don't want it to show up on your history.
Yeah, I love it. I love a good Google search. I love me a Google search.
It's one of those situations where if you don't know if a question is going to be offensive, go to somebody who knows you well.
Yeah.
Or that can either help you answer it or help you rephrase it.
Yeah.
Or, even throw out there, I don't know if this is going to be offensive, but can I ask you a question? Open the door first saying, hey, I might say this in the wrong way, but I want to know the answer.
I totally ask a question that way.
I would love to know an answer. I start a lot of questions that way.
Yeah.
When I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, hey, this might sound stupid, or hey, this could be offensive. Please let me know if it is. But
yeah, I can't find this answer. Yeah, I can't find this answer. I've had people ask me when I'm somewhere, hey, I'm not certain whether I'm allowed to ask this, but I'm going to ask this question, and they'll ask it. And I'm like, well, as opposed to this is offensive, you're allowed to ask whatever question you would like. I will choose to answer it or I won't. I appreciate you saying that, kind of thing. But what?
And one more thing. Now that it's been brought up again.
She got her finger up, girl.
Besh is like Mariah in the booth, okay? We doing this. If somebody says, I don't wish to answer that, or I don't feel comfortable answering that,
or I'm not going to
answer that. The conversation is done.
Done.
It's even.
There is no follow up.
Can I ask you this question? No. Your conversation's over. You have absolutely no right to get rightfully indignant. I do not have to disclose anything to you that I do not want to disclose.
Nobody
I will not disclose anything to you I don't want to disclose. And depending on the situation, there are certain things you can't legally ask me anyways.
Well, and following that up with, but I want to know, still's not going to get you the answer.
That's great. I don't care if you want to know.
I want to know a lot of things.
I want to not tell you.
Yeah.
And currently my want to not tell you trumps your want of knowing.
And then I followed that up with, then if you want to know, I'm going to tell you this. It's none your dang business.
And if your follow-up to me being like, well, I'm still not going to answer that is, then you're just leaving me uneducated. No, I'm not. If you're uneducated about a topic,
it's not my place to educate you. Yeah, that's not my job.
Are we back?
Oh, I'm back. Hi, how are you?
We're having weird issues, so
that is so weird. I think what it's trying to tell us is wrap it up.
Yes, so I'll say it again for the people in the back.
Yeah.
My personal business is just that. It's my personal business.
Yep.
So if I don't tell you, I'm not leaving you uneducated. I'm just not sharing that part with you, and I am setting a boundary.
Right.
Respect it, and I will respect yours.
Same.
So,
on that note,
I don't remember what we were going to talk about next week.
That's okay. I don't either, and that's all right. I think we're going to talk about more dumb things we hear, more dumb things people say. We're going to also talk about, or start to talk about, some of the better interactions we've had.
That'll help us differentiate bad dumb from good dumb too.
Right. And some of the best, like I said, those best interactions we've had, and the good dumb ones are typically the better ones for us anyway.
Oh yeah,
because if you can make us laugh, then especially for me, you make me laugh, like really laugh, you've got me. So it's all
and it's
good.
probably going to be a story for a while.
Oh, for a good long while. So I tuck it back into the recesses of my brain, and so
I keep it next to my itch.
Yeah, that's a nice place, right? So, anyway, for all you randos, thanks again for our loyal peeps. We appreciate you. We see you. Don't forget to smash that like button.
And what else?
Like, share.
What's the other?
Subscribe.
There you go. You got it.
Arachnid. No.
Arachnid. Oh, not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor.
I don't even know the brand, but they're not a sponsor. If I find one in my room, I will burn this house down.
It's true. She will. So, she will. We cannot coexist.
Until next time, my G's. That was dumb. Please.
Say it.
Listen.
Say it.
Keep it queer, and we'll see you back here next week for the Blithe and the Blind.
Bye. I almost made it in the